Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. ZSR here with the race that has been anticipated for over a week now because Wallkicks was moving. We have Alaszun versus Wallkicks Game 1 quarterfinals. In the booth, we have the beautiful Belliberal as well as Jane8373 on tracking. We have Tofile and Zaf going to keep track of all these fun items that we find. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful commentators and get this race started. Have a great race, guys.
Woo! Thank you, Jinxie. This is very, very exciting. I'm happy to see this match, and I do like that it's been delayed, air quotes delayed, because technically this is scheduled for the first day of what was kind of blocked off for quarterfinals, while every other quarterfinals matchup has already been completed. So I'm pretty excited about this. Are you thrilled as I am, Dane?
Oh yeah, this is going to be a great matchup. We're down to just 5 runners because, as you mentioned, all the other quarterfinals. The Crosskeys runners have been pretty good about finishing their matches early. Actually, this tournament, it's been quite amazing with as many people have been here. But we're down to just the 5, so the winner of this set will make it into the semifinals. And so to get here, Alaszun was able to defeat Dazed Cloud 2-0 in the first round of this top 16. Meanwhile, Wallkicks beat T-Stu14 2-1. So both these guys coming off some nice wins, getting into this game 1 here.
Yeah, this is thrilling. And you know, we get to see at least 2 matches between these 2 runners, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a laugh. I love both of these runners so much, and this is going to be an interesting matchup, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They both had a great tournament so far, and the winner will go on to face Humbug in the semifinals. So that's kind of what's at stake here. But this is just the game 1. So, like you mentioned, at least 2 games here, maybe even a game 3 with runners of these caliber. Who knows?
Yeah, this is really exciting. Oh, I do like seeing that Tofal has been ticked off twice, double tracking. All right, so we are starting off Link's house. Nothing exciting for either of our runners. You'd like to see at least bombs in the first chest you check. That's something that runners definitely want to see real early so that they don't have to leave behind any bombable walls that they come across. But unfortunately, that ain't happening, so we're probably going to see them try to farm over here on the right, see what the item pool is, or not.
Yeah, some runners will like to kill that pickle, but some will not.
There we go. Alaszun's going to see. Does he get a bomb? No.
Just the
worth a shot, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like just knowing what drop packs are available is really nice. So you can, depending on how you're at the early game, you can figure out quite a few drop packs rather early. And of note in that Witch's Hut, we saw Paradox Cave Top, which has a lot of items, but you need bombs to get those items, and getting past those mold worms isn't trivial either. So don't want to go down there yet.
Yeah, 3 hearts, green mail, no weapon. Even with bombs in hand, you're just asking for a quick reset right there.
Yep, and we see both these runners are able just to get a shield from the Thief drop down over here at Useless Fairy. Nothing too nice. They're both probably going to set up this Houlihan, which is, when you get the 300 rupees, it feels a little bit not as needed, but you still just do it because it gets you back to Link's house and you don't want to change your normal routine.
All right, and we are getting our quick Houlihan here, picking up a nice stockpile of rupees. So already having 500 rupees on either side is definitely comforting for our runners. They should be able to purchase bombs if they come across them before any naturally occur in the wild.
Yeah, and you see what Alaszun's doing here. You just kind of, there's a lot of different drop packs represented on these screens. Unfortunately, they are, the only one that has a chance to be bombs is that guard drop pack. And we just saw no bombs from the Octorok or the arrow shooter.
Oh, but speaking of bombs, Wallkicks just picked up one off of that little Desert Palace guy. I forget what they're called. The little flowery cactus things that chase you around.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to get that first bomb if you're going to want to check something like the Uncle drop down, because that could be Kakariko Well or Back of Escape, which would let you get those items.
And seeing a boomerang on top of the torch there, probably not going to prioritize that when they get boots. Unless they are terribly unfortunate with acquiring any other sort of item that could do damage to anything.
Yeah, those boomerangs are actually pretty nice early in Crosskeys, but you're definitely not going to go out of your way to get it, just like you're mentioning.
Yeah, no, that would be that's a desperation move. Or if they had, if they happened to have the boots before they walked into that room the first time, they might go ahead and grab it. But not doing a second trip through that doorway, I do not expect.
Yeah, and we found another big item cave here with Mini Moldorm Cave, so it's kind of unfortunate these runners just weren't able to get any very quick items here to be able to get through those caves, but I'm sure they'll come back to those caves as soon as they get ability to clear those.
Oh, definitely. And getting our first pod small key out of 6, and Wallkicks taking advantage of having that one bomb on him to grab the 3 items here. And we got a bottle out of it. Nothing else really special, but some blue goo is handy.
Yep, and it's always nice to find a bottle in Crosskeys before you run into Sick Kid, because sometimes he's in some pretty annoying to get to spots, so you don't like to have to go backtrack for him.
Yeah, definitely. I find Sick Kid more often than not is in an out-of-the-way location that will be very easily isolated and abandoned by runners. So having a bottle well before you walk through there is ideal, so nobody has to think about Sick Kid ever again.
Yep, and they found an interesting connector over here that takes you from the chicken house to the archery game. So that would be a nice cross connector. And also, Palace of Darkness is right next to that too. So some pretty interesting entrances right here in Kakariko.
Yeah, definitely. Being our first dungeon on the board so far, and only 5 minutes in, so that's not bad. It's a nice, easy to get to location, and especially with Pod being one of those dungeons that you tend to dip multiple times, unless you roll some sort of God Seed. And from what I know of Jinxie Seeds, they may be a god, but it's not one people like.
Trickster god, perhaps.
Yes, some sort of vengeful god.
Yeah, so and those pods actually really nice here for a number of reasons. Number one, they have the small key, so they can come back here and get 2 items just in logic. Also, pod's an excellent bomb farm, so these runners are both going to be pretty set on bombs. And third, for Wallkicks, he has a potion here, so he can pretty quickly sequence break the Boak side if he wants to. Alaszun could do a mimic clip as well, and he might elect to do that. So nothing really useful here. The bombs are a little bit nice, I guess, this early, but it looks like with that Death Warp, Alaszun's probably not going to think about doing that mimic clip. But Wallkicks, whenever you're in pod with a potion already, it's really nice to do because then you just kind of have your bottle free for whenever. You don't have to worry about using it for a sequence break.
And we're getting a check here in the Pyramid Fairy. Nothing exciting. Picked up a map, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's nice to find those locations that have a lot of items early, just so that you know they're not somewhere else, but not going to be too helpful today. All right, let's see what Wallkicks get for sequence breaking this side. Just the heart piece so far and a small key to Hyrule Castle. That's actually interesting logically, but with where escape is, it's not that helpful.
And taking that death warp out. So it was nice to get a few more checks out of the way for Wallkicks, but not very fruitful.
Yeah, and meanwhile, it looks like Alaszun has found the Old Man Ascent cave here and is elected to just go out of it. And here he is with the Old Man.
Coming out top of Spectacle Rock, so that's a nice find. And some blue mail. Early on, without a mirror in hand, blue mail isn't ideal, but as we see on Wallkick's side inside Tower of Hera, that blue mail will be very much appreciated. Because we don't have to worry about death warping out of dungeons now.
Yeah, you'd love to find the mirror early in Crosskeys, and it's actually might be a bit unfortunate for Alaszun to have gone to the mountain right now, because when Wallkicks goes up there, he'll have the mirror and we'll be able to get an extra entrance. We'll see if it comes back to bite him. It's just the one entrance at Hera without having the hammer or anything, but it can still be pretty nice. Speaking of nice, here's Hype Cave, another one of our 5-item caves. So we've already found 2 5-item caves and Paradox, so that's a lot of items available in this early game.
We're getting a lamp. We got a small key to Misery Mire, another small key to Misery Mire. Okay, so that was Mire Cave.
Yeah, so that lamp is very, very interesting right now, because the way Alaszun got up here requires the lamp. So we need to find some other way to get up here, because you can't use the lamp to get the lamp. So we could have something like a connector to East Death Mountain, which would mean the hookshot's available early, or we could have the flute early, which it's telling you that the flute is going to be, or hookshot may be available before this. You could also have like a connector to the Dark Death Mountain available with that mirror, but it's always interesting to find the lamp on the mountain like that. And we're seeing Wallkicks making his way up tier as well. So we'll get to see one more entrance over here on Wallkick's side. So it's not likely to be anything great, but it's always interesting.
And a fresh little refill of bombs for Wallkicks while he's here. Get an extra heart. Definitely needed when you are dodging those cabbages.
Yeah, absolutely. Death Mountain in the early game can be quite perilous, so you want to have as much health as possible. There's the last desert entrance over there on the top of Dark West Death Mountain. And yes, Chad pointing out that desert connector with the mirror is actually our logical access to the top of the mountain, because they could take that Desert Palace connector to there and then mirror to get the lamp.
Well, there you go. That's nice. That is definitely a nice find.
Yeah, it's interesting because Alaszun does not know that yet. Wallkicks will know that when he finds it, but because whenever you do a sequence break like these runners did, what's important is to keep track of what you could be skipping. Because like if you find yourself in a situation where you sequence broke something, and whatever you sequence breaks means the hook shot or something is out there, that means that you need to look in those areas that were in logic before your sequence break to find that item. And we got to see that Ganon is at the Hyrule Castle drop down today, so we won't need to beat Ganon or Aghanim to get to Ganon today. And by Ganon, I mean Ganon's Tower.
Yes, and I'm trying to think now, what drop downs are we missing?
Did we see what's at the Magic Bat Vanilla spot?
Yes, Magic Bat Vanilla spot is It's Lumberjack.
Okay.
And it was just a compass on Lumberjack Ledge.
Well, we need to look at Lumberjack and the Forest, and I believe we still have Uncle, Useless Fairy, and Well left. And here's the one entrance that we'll get to see over on Wallkicks' side that Alaszun was not able to do, so we'll see if it's anything interesting. Nope, nothing good today.
Thank you, chat. I appreciate chat and the comedy, the pure comedy.
Yeah, the fairy, I like to make this distinction. The fairy is not what's useless. It's the drop down that's useless. The fairy just lives in a bad location. And so Alaszun has found this laser bridge over at the dam entrance, which is always nice. It's 4 items and a glove there. That's a great find there. So early glove and Mirror of the Sea, pretty nice.
Yes, definitely. Now again, it is out of logic without any invincibility item or the mirror shield. So that is something to keep in mind. I mean, it is it's something that our runners don't mind doing, but again, something to consider when trying to figure out where you should be logically and what you should have logical access to if getting a little stumped on finding progression.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're just happy to have it early so you don't leave behind that glove locked entrance. But and also the other thing it gives is now Alaszun can go over and get that mini Moldorm cave we found earlier without having to orphan that glove lock spot. Which Wallkicks will probably feel a bit sad when he goes into the dam and finds that there's a glove in there after coming up here with no glove.
Yes. And there we go into Mini Moldorm.
And so something to point out, we saw that the Mountain Old Man saving quit point is at Mini Moldorm Cave.
Oh. And so we have our small key to Tower of Hera to give us access to the basement, and on Wallkicks' side, a mushroom.
Yeah, with Alaszun having not done Tower of Hera yet, he might just do the basement right away with that lamp and that key, and that could be a big play because Wallkicks may not rush there unless they get kind of forced there like early. And we're seeing Wallkicks go back over to that same fake flipper spot to turn in that mushroom here, because you really love to turn the mushroom in early in Crosskeys, because you might just run into the witch's hut and then never have to go back there. And oftentimes, like Sick Kid, it can just be in really annoying spots. Oh, and another reason to come here. Paradox Cave is right here. With 6 bombs, you should be fine. If you get in a pickle, you can go back to the shop at the bottom and buy more bombs.
We are getting a nice item-dense location, so hopefully we get something useful out of here.
Yeah, I would really like to see some sort of renewable or non-resource consuming weapon, like the hammer or even the hookshot or something.
Or, I don't know, maybe a sword?
Yeah, maybe that's too much. We'll see if the seed's going to be nice, though, if we give us a sword. Wallkicks gets the nice triple kill with the single bomb there. Ooh, Moon Pearl.
Ooh, okay, that is really good. Hopefully we'll be seeing Alaszun make his way back there in the near future.
Yeah, I'm sure once he... Oh, sorry.
Oh, he's just taking some time to buy some bombs while he is in CAC.
Yeah, because once you get that, if you go over to the light shopping mall and get the mushroom, it's pretty quick to go back there. And there's the powder too, so you don't even feel bad about missing fake powder. And we see that Useless Fairy drop down over the Lumberjack spot, which is pretty good. You prefer that to be Ganon and Uncle to be there, but at least you know that Ganon's not gonna be housing where the Useless Fairy is not easily accessible. But in any case, we're either going to have Uncle or Cackwell behind Ganon right now. So we're gonna have something. Have we seen maybe Magic Bat? No, I think we've seen all the other. No, Sank drop down still out there, which could be Magic Bat.
And we got our first little medallion. We got a Quake medallion on Wallkicks side, just sitting there in Lost Woods.
And we see Magic Bat is at the Forest drop down, so that means the well is going to be either at Sanctuary drop down or it's going to be behind Ganon, and we're either going to have 2 or 5 items behind the GT. And so we're going to get to see that basement here by Alaszun. So if this is something good, this could be a pretty big play, depending on, like, if it's something that's going to bottleneck you, like the hammer, Wallkicks will probably get back here soon. But if it's something kind of more eccentric, like a small key or a big key, then it might be a while before Wallkicks get back here. And another interesting thing here over on Wallkicks side, we see that the top of the Death Mountain Descent in the Light World gets connected to this seed by Paradox Bottom, so they don't need to mirror at the top of that cave to get it, which they have the mirror already, so it's not as big of a deal, but it is always interesting.
All right, let's see what our basement gives us. It is a small key to GT.
Yeah, it's not super exciting. It does help with Ganon's Tower, like logic, keeping track of it, but you don't necessarily need that key.
No, but it is helpful for an early dip.
Yes, yeah.
If the other keys are more out of the way and later on into the seed, when we find GT, it does open up a few more options.
Yeah, and those keys, they're really good at telling you how deep you should go into GT, because Ice Armos is locked by 3, and then the other 4 item locations are locked by 4. So if you go in there with 1 key, and you have to say, like, consider going to Swordless Hammer Ice Armos, you might not want to do that. But if you come in with 3, then that's a more attractive option. And Alaszun made his way from the Kakariko Fortune Teller Spac rock bottom over to Dark Sank in the Dark World. So there's another dark connector they found. So they have a lot of Dark World access over through connectors right now.
Yeah, and with that Moon Pearl that Wallkicks has on hand, getting through the Dark World is going to be far less tedious.
Yeah, you probably won't see Alaszun do too many bunny walks. Paradox Cave should be something he gets to relatively quickly, so that's generally the big time loss is if you just start doing a lot of bunny walks up the Moon Pearl and have to come back to stuff. But he'll be able to get there. Oh, and our tracker pointing out that he didn't fall through Spectacle Rock, he did the bomb jump, so that's actually, yeah, not an in-logic entrance. And we see that the back of the Old Man takes us to Thieves Town, which that one is in logic, and that will get us to that same sort of area for the Dark World. And we've also found another connector over at the brewery, which Wallkicks is going to follow because he's already seen the Archer game entrance and is doing the rest of Village of Outcast.
Oh, here we go. This is a nice location to find. One of those connectors that you can be hunting for a while, and it gives you 3 entrances to check.
Yeah, it's always nice when you get to knock out that Spiral Cave drop down. If you don't find this connector in the mirror, it can be quite annoying to check. So it's great to find this connector. Get Mimic Cave, which you can't otherwise get out of the way. It even gives him the first access to East Death Mountain. So yeah, I agree. A very good connector to find here. And we got to see Alaszun turn in that magic powder. Didn't look like it was anything too interesting over there from the bat. Yeah, TR small key, which actually could be coming to play. So those drop downs over on East Death Mountain were nothing useful, but we still got the rest of East Death Mountain. And here's Ice Palace, which you can't do anything in yet, no source of fire.
Yeah, unfortunately, the lamp does not work to get you into ice.
Yeah, I mean, with the freezers are kind of, I'm sure some people tried to beat them with the hammer, but they'd just be disappointed.
Yep. And Ice Palace is the green pendant, which is convenient because it's right next to Sahasrahla.
Yeah,
and
he's got the big key in the back. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense how he lost it in there. He probably just went spelunking with that big key and just dropped it. And there's the bumper cave connector, which we cannot follow yet without the cave. The other side, you could take the hook shot. For this one, you need strictly the cave.
But fortunately, he does have another connector option here, going through that Quarreling Brothers that he found when he first dropped in. Ooh, there we go. That's a weapon for us.
Yeah, that's a great thing to find. They haven't found Hookshot Cave yet, but they'll be able to get all the items when they get there. Gives you items in GT. It's just a great item to have. It's really good for stunning enemies. In fact, it puts doing what he just did in logic. It looks like Wallkicks would rather just check this connector here. Doesn't want to go to Turtle or Chain Chomp Room with not much items in the week. So you just have to use the hook shot.
Yeah, so having a couple of Turtle Rock entrances now found between for our runners here now. So that's good. Everybody has access to Turtle Rock one way or another.
Yeah, and that was an interesting connector there for the laser eyes, because that's the Desert Palace back, which gives us one entrance and one item, which we have not seen checked yet. Neither of these runners scouted the ledge. When Alaszun gets there, he'll be able to get there because he has the glove now, and now he has the Moon Pearl. So we'll see when he gets to that. It's probably not going to be too high on the list of his things to do to check that connector, but it could come into play. And it looks like both these runners taking that Back of Old Man connector are going to do some stuff over in this Village of Outcast area. Wally is actually going to clear out these. So they both got taken to the mountain and then just had so many things to do, they didn't clear out these southern houses of Kakariko. And this mire here, so this dip makes a lot of sense to me given the items Wallkicks has. Because, well actually, can you kill the Wizrubs with the hookshot? Oh, he's gonna get disappointed when you can't kill them with bombs. Yeah, because like item-wise, this dips makes sense because he's got 2 Mire Smalls and Lamp. Now, the Lamp-locked items require 3 Smalls, but a lot of times when you're playing Crosskeys, you kind of assume that there's just one sitting somewhere nice that you could get to. So yeah, the Wizrubs are immune to bombs, and it kind of sucks because like when you go in there and you don't know that, you have that sort of thing happen where you think you just missed it, and then you have to like really nail it before you convince yourself that no, he's not teleporting away, he's just immune to it.
Yeah, you're just burning bombs for no reason.
Because yeah, I think that's also just can be a little bit of autopilot where like you see, okay, you found Mire, you found your hook shot, you found 2 small keys in the lamp. It makes sense to dip in there because there's a good amount of items that are 1 key away or in logic. So it's a lot of good stuff, but not quite yet.
And now we get that race game check over here on the on Wally's side, and he is going to check the just run straight through it. Might as well with the mirror in hand.
Yeah, neither of these runners scouted this. The green potion, not worth walking back for, apparently.
Nope. And just going in through the door.
That's
and
a
we
good
found
entrance,
GT. There we go. So we have GT and Wally's going in with one mall key in hand. When Alaszun makes his way here eventually, he's going to have at least two.
There's a sword.
Oh, that is nice. Well, now we might as well just walk right on back into into Misery Mire.
Yeah, we'll see if that's what he likes to do. He's still got the Southern Dark World or Southern Light World and Stumpy, so we might get over to that later. But yeah, right now they just don't have the items to get through Ganon's Tower. They need the hammer to get pretty far into the left side, and they don't have the Canis Mario or Fire Rod to do much on the right. And that shovel game, just having a compass today, I don't even want to pick that up.
No, it's extra weight. You can't run as fast.
And there's that other side of Umber Cave, which we saw. It leads to East Death Mountain for the other side.
Okay, like these aren't really bad. And that's our main entrance to Turtle Rock there. So we have seen 3 entrances to Turtle Rock now.
Actually, all of them, because Wallkicks bomb jumped to the Laser Rock entrance, so we've seen all of them now.
Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah, which is always interesting, because a lot of times one of those entrances will be one of the guaranteed connectors, like Desert Useless or the Turtle Rock Laser Bridge, but today they're just all readily available.
I gotta say, with it being a little bit delayed getting a solid weapon for our runners today, this is shaping up to be a very thorough seed when it comes to how quickly they are able to kind of route things. That early Moon, Pearl, and Mirror, the glove on Alaszun's side, but Wallkicks should be picking that up soon.
Yeah, Wallkicks has only had 2 kind of feels bad moments for not having that glove, being the Turtle Rock Laser Eye entrance, going to the Desert Glove Locked entrance, and then he missed the Light Shopping Mall Glove Locked entrance, but he's probably going to get this glove over in the dam before doing anything else that's nice next to a glove lock spot. But yeah, this is a very nice and thorough route because they don't have access to the right side of the Dark World, so you probably see Wallkicks go over here and kind of terminate his route over at that mini Moldorm cave he saw earlier. Speaking of 5-item caves, Alaszun has made his way over into Blind's Hut. See if this has some sort of progression like Hammer or Flippers to give us a little more access to entrances.
And Wallkicks finding his way into Thieves Town, so we'll get 4 solid checks done here.
And the Blind's Hut had the Swamp Palace small key, which is interesting but not helpful yet. But that bow over in Thieves Town could be useful kind of quickly, but we'd still need like the Eastern Palace or Dark Palace big key, because Wallkicks already did the Bowlock side of pod.
Let's see what these last 2 items are. We get a piece of heart and just some extra bombs. That's it.
Yeah, you definitely appreciate finding that bow. Though the one thing about that bow is that soon you'll have to start thinking about doing the Ganon's Tower climb if you get enough items. We already know there's 2 GT Smalls in the wild, and the Kakariko Well is behind doing the climb.
Yeah, that's going to weigh on them for sure. If they do not luck into finding every single item that they need to defeat this seed, they will probably not take very long to cave and do the GT climb once they get that big key in hand.
Yeah, and so Alaszun has made his way over to Skullwoods, and there was one thing interesting in there, the Eastern Palace Big Key. So combined with that bow that's over in Thievestown, as long as Wallkicks gets up to Thievestown kind of quickly, they'll probably be able to both full clear Eastern Palace when they find it.
Oh, and getting that cape out of the dam, activating the dam on Wallkick's side. Was that Dark World Dam?
Yep, Swamp Palace Dam today.
Yeah, okay, yep. It was Swamp Palace, okay, wow.
And so there's actually another big key in Skullwoods, and there's the hammer.
Ooh,
wow.
Okay, he's getting a hammer and gloves out of this. Okay, this is... I don't know what Jinxie did, but she rolled a potentially speedy seed.
Yeah, the seed is pretty nice in terms of efficient routing, because that cape even is nice now, because with the hammer, they can get up to the pyramid right now with the mirror and use that cape to get the Aga Tower entrance. And what I was pointing out on Alaszun's side, too, is the Meyer big key was also in Skullwoods, so that's already 2 pretty solid big keys over in Skullwoods.
Jinxie assuring that she never rolls a speed seed.
There's always plenty of chances in Crosskeys, so we don't know yet. Yeah, until you get into go mode.
Yeah, this is going to be a hunt for something, guaranteed.
We found some of the usual suspects, like the Swamp Small and the Eastern Pig, but there's still plenty of other items that are known for their hiding.
Oh yes, the good old ice rod.
Yeah, that one's a classic. We'll see if Wallkicks elects to scout the desert ledge here. Normally, you don't see runners do it that much, but he knows there's a connector to there, so it might have a little bit of incentive to check it. Because, like, the reason you don't scout it is because normally if you get access to that ledge, you do it immediately because you have access to the whole mire and desert area. But in this particular seed, they have a connector there that they can get to, and it just gives them one item and one entrance.
And we're doing pretty well on keys for 35 minutes in, having Eastern Big, Small to Hera, 2 small pods, Small key to Swamp, Small key Skull Woods, Big key to Ice Palace, Mire, 2 smalls and a big, a small and a big, 2 Turtle Rock, and 2 available GT smalls. This is really healthy when it comes to key access right now.
Yeah, and something that to note is that we did see Bombo's Medallion on Lake Hylia Island really early in the seed, and now with that hammer and glove and Ice Palace Big Key, it's like pretty close to being in logic, so you just need to find the flippers or the fire rod.
And now Alaszun did make the run over for the green goo in the bottle. So Alaszun, as of right now, is the only one that will potentially get bottle percent of this race.
Yeah, I mean, I think he will, because Wallkicks already has 3 bottles, and he skipped that one. And Wallkicks hasn't done anything too exotic in terms of checks right now. I didn't realize that Wallkicks also hadn't done the North Kakariko checks too, so it's a pretty late checks here, but not getting punished, just getting the powder.
Not going any deeper. Oh well, without the hammer, right? He can't get further. I just remembered. I was like, oh, he has the hook shot. He can go through it, and I was like, wait, no. There is a room before that requires another item that he should actually get fairly soon, as long as he keeps following this route over to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll see Alaszun get to Swamp Palace. There's nothing along the way that really distracts you and pulls you off the course. And they can't go up towards the pod area without getting that hammer.
Exactly.
And then we see Wallkicks is going to worry about that Tower of Hera small key, which makes a lot of sense. You can absolutely get burned by this, especially in Crosskeys. And yeah, so the GT small key in here is interesting because you can, once you have 2 small keys, then you start thinking more about going to ice armors, especially with the bow already. It probably is pretty free. And the GT is a pretty easy to get to location. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Wallkicks go into GT pretty quickly here.
Oh, definitely.
And looks like he's going to use that hook shot here to actually just clear out Tower of Hera, which that makes going back here make even more sense. Because yeah, you abandoned the big key, but it's very quick to get back here. So if you find that big key and are getting angsty, you can just come up here and get the big chest again.
Oh, that was a perfect execution of that Hera pot.
Yeah, always interesting. There's so many different ways to set up that bomb Hera pot, and so many runners are consistent with many different ways.
Yes, oh for sure.
So I'm trying to think about, like, GT to me seems like the best play right now from the perspective of the runners. Once Alaszun gets these hammers, you could go up towards the pod area to get some more entrances. It's just that there's like no obvious to clear dungeons. Like you can go into Mire for a pretty big dip, but if you're gonna go dipping somewhere, GT has more items.
Oh, definitely. But getting our first dungeon clear, just a heart. But a crystal is very much appreciated for a first clear of the dungeon.
Yeah, I feel like ever since Hera pot has become allowed, you'll see the average time to clear the first dungeon go down significantly, because Tower of Hera is just so quick to clear. All you need is the quick hook shot and some sort of weapon to kill Moldarm, and you can do it.
And we're heading back into pod on Wallkicks' side as Alaszun is getting his good news now that the hammer is just outside here once he gets that mirror done. Here we go.
Yeah, and so Chad actually pointing out Alaszun's much more likely to do the Palace of Darkness area here because he already did the desert putt stuff, which Wallkicks hadn't done, and also, well, he was kind of already thinking about it, I guess, because he hadn't even done like Hype Cave or the house to the south of Palace of Darkness, so definitely makes a lot of sense for him to go back on this route. And something interesting about this pod is that these chests here are not in logic. You can get them pretty freely, and they're going to get rewarded for sure with that Cane of Samaria. Because I was kind of thinking, okay, you've got a couple of chests, you got at least 4 checks in GT there in logic versus, I think, 6 you can get here with the 2 smalls. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many he had already finished. But that cane will definitely be nice. You can do tile room, and maybe if you're feeling spicy, sequence break the right side of GT. Yep, nice hammer jump there by Wallkicks.
Yep. And getting a small key 2 Turtle Rock out of it.
Yeah, with having found all of the Turtle Rock entrances, you only strictly need 1, but those mitts are nice and fine.
Oh, yep. That is, that's definitely good to pull out of it, and he is running right back out now that he has that all done. And back into Mire, this time not trying to kill Wizropes with bombs.
Yep, unfortunate Shrub tried that. But yeah, so that pod dip definitely paid off. The mitts are not strictly as valuable in Crosskeys because they're generally either Mire access or they're kind of like a fetch quest. But we haven't seen Misery Mire yet. We still need the flute to get there, but it could come up for that. And yeah, here's Alaszun going up now because he routed it in that he was finishing over here, and he's going to be able to get these 3 entrants on top of Castle Tower plus the item on Pyramid. We'll see how far he elects to go here. He could all go all the way to the pod area, which would make a lot of sense because it sucks to not do anything other than save and quit out of pod.
Oh, he is going to grab the heart. I mean, with the mirror in hand, Blue Mail, and only running on 6 hearts at the time, it is nice to get that extra bit of health.
Yeah, and something interesting. So we have Wallkicks has the cane, and Alaszun has the Meyer Big Key. So between the two, if they do something similar, you might be able to see them. Like they could. There could be a single pass full clear here by Alaszun. Wallkicks is kind of giving that up because he didn't go to Skullwoods yet. And with just a blue boomerang over in the Mimic Cave on the top of this castle here, so nothing too important. It's nice to get the first boomerang, especially knowing they won't ever get the red one.
Justin bombs. Let's take a look at this center entrance here, and it's Checkerboard Cave with 50 rupees, and Alaszun's gonna take the quick little run with that mirror in hand. It's not as tedious to grab those 50 rupees.
Yeah, because 800, I mean, if you get no more rupees, you're kind of cutting it close to all the rupees he's got to spend. He's got Zora available. He's got the pod entrance that's already 610. And then if you want to buy a potion and do the bomb, you need a little bit more than what he had. So it makes a little bit of sense to get that. And this Meyer dip hasn't come up with anything interesting yet, so Wallkicks is probably not going to feel too great unless this last item makes it worth it.
And just a map to Turtle Rock. Nice to have the knowledge when that opportunity arises, but for now, not really an exciting find. Would much rather some progression.
Yeah, for sure. It could come into play in the late game. And meanwhile, at the Dark Witch's Hut, Alaszun has found our first Hyrule Castle entrance. So whenever I find a Hyrule Castle entrance as late as these runners have, I tend to think that it's going to be one of those guaranteed connectors, because otherwise I probably would have found it already, right? So we'll see if he wants to check this connector, because one that's interesting that he could find is the top of Dark Death Mountain.
And we found Swamp Palace over on Wallkicks' side, inside that little hammer hut in Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, that's a great find. We already have the hammer, the swamp small, and the dam pulled, so we just need the final piece of the puzzle, being the flippers, and the hookshot even. So we can full clear that as soon as they get the flippers. And yeah, the flute was over at Dark Cross, so that will, with those mitts, give access to the mire area, and also makes getting to the mountain easier, which with the hammer, they're able to do a lot more up there.
Yeah, the flute is definitely a nice find when it just comes to just fast travel. It's good for our runners when it comes to just routing, is that you can get to some of those locations that you may have sort of isolated early on a bit easier, so you can fit those in without abandoning them for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Wallkicks would be able to get back to that glove-locked entrance over and like shopping mall quickly. And it's just sometimes required in Crosskeys. In Crosskeys, it's kind of like a toss-up. Either there's a few things it can do. It can give you your mountain access very rarely. It can give you your mire access more frequently than mountain, but not all the time. And then it can also sometimes be required to bring the big bomb back to the pyramid.
Yes. And we are just taking our little blacksmith here on a bit of a world tour, I guess.
Yeah, we did see the Smith house. I don't remember exactly where it was, but these runners have seen it.
Yes, I don't remember where either because they dipped connectors so early on that I don't know if it was Lake Fortune Teller. Thank you to our lovely tracker.
Yeah, those guys are really on top of things. It's really hard to watch two screens at once and remember where all the things are.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and as I was saying, where they were dipping connectors so early, it's not as easy as, oh, it was found somewhere in the CAC check, because our CAC check got split up into about 8 different sections.
Yeah, I think Wallkicks finished his CAC check at about 30 minutes into the seed.
Yeah.
So Wallkicks has made his way over to Ganon's Tower, which I was a bit surprised that he went into Mire before coming here, but definitely makes a lot of sense to come here too.
Oh, definitely. He wouldn't be abandoning this.
And also, Alaszun got the silvers. I didn't notice that, but he got the silvers over a catfish, so that'll be a nice. He hasn't beat any bosses yet, so those will be really helpful. And we're also seeing one of the more perilous fake flippers here by Alaszun, and that was actually pretty scary. So that was some very good swimming by Alaszun there, because if he had taken like a half a second longer, that top bomber would have killed him, but he was able to use his invincibility to get past him.
Oh, and that's a nice little find for Wallkicks. He got the red mail there in GT. Living life as Edgeworth now.
Yeah, he's been upgraded to a prosecutor now.
Yep.
Ganon's got to look out. And there's the Hyrule Castle connector in the Dark Shopping Mall, which Chad was kind of mentioning may make it feel a little bad. I think it makes sense what Alaszun did, because he set his route a while ago, and you just kind of stick into it. And I think you'll see Alaszun check that last connector from Hyrule Castle after this, because it would be nice to get up to the top of the mountain, and it's definitely in play. We've seen a lot of connectors already. Oh yeah, and also Hookshot Cave was over here, so there's 2 good options to check. Hookshot Cave's got the 4 items, so you do that one first, but as long as you don't get locked out, you'll probably be able to come back, unless Hookshot Cave is the connector you're looking for.
And we got that Desert Palace Small. That is a nice find, so that you do not have to abandon any of the 2 checks over on the right side of Desert Palace.
Yeah, it's very nice to have, because those 2 items in the desert can be. It's annoying to get into that desert entrance, so it's nice to get it early and be able to route it in whenever it fits. And there's the Tower of Hera Big Key, which is not very nice for Wallkicks to find right now, because he's going to have to worry about, okay, when do I go back over to get that big chest? But it's not bad either. And Alaszun did find that top of the mountain connector, so not going to worry about the Hyrule Castle connector, because whatever it is, I think it probably has to be the Laser Bridge connector, because we haven't seen that one yet. But this is a much more interesting connector than anything else you could find. And we'll get to see our first check at these fairy ascension caves. Just a long fairy cave there.
And turning in our Smith, see what reward we are given. Another map, this one to Tower of Hera, which not needed for Wallkicks.
Yeah, but he already knows what's in there.
But he doesn't know what's in the big chest.
Yeah, Don't have to worry about that for a while.
No, definitely not, but it is, it's one of those checks that can bite somebody.
And something to know, I think Wallkicks did not do GT Tile Room, it looks like, but there's the flippers. And it makes sense because it's not in logic. The cane was locked by 4 pod smalls. But those flippers are most likely the progression we've been looking for. So good find there by Wallkicks. The flippers give us Swamp Palace and Cementus. So really nice.
Very good. Very good having those flippers on hand.
Yeah, and also it puts Ice Palace into logic. We'll see if Wallkicks is going right over to that Bomb Boost Medallion to grab that, because he's right here.
Oh, yeah. Yoink.
Oh yeah, so chat pointing out, yes, you need 3 GT Smalls to put that Desert Small into logic, which they could be just in a dungeon we haven't dipped yet and may be in logic, or they could be in something like Swamp. So I guess they've dipped pretty thoroughly into what they have available right now, so it would probably have to be in something like Swamp if that's going to be the... Well, no, it wouldn't... Sorry, Swamp is locked by at least one of them, so it has to be somewhere else other than Swamp.
Possibly Hera Big Chest?
That's an option for one. There was already one in the Hera Small Chest in the basement. And we're seeing Alaszun gonna close out like one of the main spots we got left for entrances, being this Palace of Darkness area. Here's Skull Woods. We'll get one check here in logic. We'll probably also see Alaszun go straight to the back and use the bomb jump to beat Mothula. Ooh, so the Fire Rod. That puts Mothula not into logic, but more in logic than it was before, I guess. Because Mothula requires all of the small keys, but that means that Ice Palace is in logic now. And we see the interesting glitch where Alaszun appeared to have not lit that torch, but it doesn't matter, it actually just was. That's like the reverse torch glitch.
Yeah, not lighting the torch, and you get rewarded.
Well, yeah, so if you light the right side torch at like the same time as that left side torch, the game messes up when it tries to draw both of them as lit. And Alaszun getting a bit close there. I think he has some potions that could help him on Mothula, but definitely a little close for comfort there. And we see that Skullwoods is a crystal today. We got a Ice Palace small, which can be nice for routing, though we already had one, so we probably won't need it, but the crystal is nice.
Yeah, I do believe Alaszun must have done a map check, because he didn't know that that was a crystal earlier on, before even going into here.
And Wallkicks is about to get his flute, so we'll see how much he wants to check the mire area. It's out of logic by 4 pod small keys, so I would not be surprised to see him not rush it. But then again, maybe he does because he wants to do those desert entrances that he saw but wasn't able to get earlier, which he knows are in logic.
It is a location-dense area, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if he comes out of this little path that he's going along, checking Hookshot Cave, and goes right on over to Mire.
Yeah, and it can be nice sometimes to do things out of logic because it can kind of tell you where things aren't going to be. So, like, if you find something over there, if you find the boots, you know you're not going to find a pod small locked by the boots unless you find a connector to the mire area. And it looks like over in the pod area, Alaszun has found Eastern Palace, which is a great find here because he can just full clear it. It's got even silvers even.
Oh, very nice check there. I did not see exactly what it was.
I'll trust the trackers to update it with the information that was there. They're very good at that. I saw the map check just as it was closing.
Yeah. I did see one pendant, I think was Meyer? Yeah, no, yeah, Meyer was one of our red or blue pendants.
Yeah, and that's oh, sorry.
That's full knowledge, actually, because Thieves Town was also a pendant.
Yeah, so that's actually really nice. I'm sure Wallkicks is happy to find that Meyer is a pendant after already having dipped it, though then again, you can still get really burned by Vitreous with a big chest having an item. And we'll get to see this Turtle Rock entrance. Alaszun was not able to do this because he didn't have the Bombos and the Mitts are both out of logic, but Wallkicks has them, so may as well use them while you're up here. And we haven't found anything of note really over in Eastern on Alaszun's side. You're definitely still fine doing it. It's a crystal, you gotta beat it. And it doesn't ever get faster really. You get to skip this one chest that we're about to see. And maybe the one in the front and the hookshot one that are pretty quick relative to other checks you could skip. Oh, Thieves Town Small is a great find to find before you find the big key.
Oh, definitely. Getting that opportunity to not abandon that check, because it is a bit of a slog to go right back in and go all the way to the big chest after completing the dungeon.
And Wallkicks deciding to go into Ice Palace, and it makes a lot of sense that you can full clear this dungeon. It's a little bit out of logic by one GT small to him, but when you're out of logic by one small, you can that could just be in some really annoying location, so you can kind of almost feel like it is in logic.
Yeah.
And we know from our perspective that it is in fact just fully in logic, not because of Ganon's Tower Smalls, but because of the Fire Rock.
Yes. And having the and going through this is nice because, again, this is going to be a green pendant. Sahasrahla is right next door to turn it in immediately after.
Yeah, and also Wallkicks has this Cane of Samarias. The Wise Palace is a nice, dense, pretty quick to clear. So you're going to get, what, 7 items if you count the green pendant? So pretty quick. And kind of funny that Pod is at the Eastern entrance today, just swapped over one world. We're also going to get to see the first checks at the Eastern Palace area, I believe, by either runner.
Wallkicks picking up Master Sword there inside Ice Palace.
And really a great time to pick it up because it makes the Cold Stare fight a little bit easier because your first spin does a little bit more damage. Especially with just the Bombos fight here.
And that mirror shield is nice to have. Not the most useful to our runners, but it is it's a shield.
Skull was big key. That's actually good for Wallkicks because Skull has got a lot of good items, and that might motivate him to go there. And something interesting we're going to see on Alaszun's side is this mushroom turn. And I've been wanting to see this because the mushroom's in logic, and I guess with the Fire Rod now Ice Palace is too, but it's nothing. Because like that's one of the we don't have that many more fully in logic checks. We got like the Meyer's got a couple, and then there's just a few scattered out throughout the world.
And we got another Pod Small inside Ice Palace.
Yeah, and we'll see how early we find all 6 of those, and that'll kind of dictate how good the mitts checks are going to be today, really, because if they're really deep, then there's just less stuff the mitts can lock. Ooh, looks like Graveyard Ledge is over at this waterfall fairy location that Alaszun has selected to fake flipper over to. And these Zora area checks are in logic too. Not the flipper ones, but the Zora itself is.
Saha having boots would actually be nice. Boots are just nice to have. It's not the most useful item, but when it just comes to being a speed runner, having a nice pair of runners is good.
Yeah, even if they don't save too much time, just moving faster, you just feel you're going way faster. So you feel more like a speed runner.
Yeah, you feel good just having them on. They're a sharp-looking pair of boots. What can you say?
And there are just a lot of nice strategies you can use on bosses or in various rooms that involve the boots. And Zora has the Swamp Palace Big Key, so now that's a true full clear of Swamp on the table. Not quite in logic yet, but just out of logic by 1 GT small.
And just being rewarded with a compass to GT.
Yep, we'll see this green pendant pays off. Ice Palace had some nice convenient items like that Master Sword and the Red Mail. Who knows, that sword could be meaningful. Maybe we have something on the tablets today and the other swords are deep. But not strictly looking required yet, but we'll see if Saha's going to change that.
Now, that Red Mail wasn't in Ice Palace. That was actually in GT.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
But having it was nice. That's what Jay Coper was mentioning in chat, is that it's convenient to have that for fighting Cold Stare. Yeah, he's just checking these dark entrances here now, making sure he's not missing anything before he mirrors to go right into Saha.
Yeah, we see a nice usage of connectors there by Alaszun, having the knowing that he can get to East Death Mountain for Ice Palace pretty quickly here by going through that Bumper Cave connector.
And Saha was absolutely useless today.
Yeah, so this Ice Palace play, it makes a lot of sense from this perspective of both runners. They got both small keys, they got the big key, they have the hammer. Alaszun has the fire rod fully in logic. So it's a full clear that you can do, and it's really dense. Just didn't pay off for these runners.
But the flute activation, always nice.
So with Wallkicks having 3 pod smalls, however, now we're only 1 away from that cane coming into logic, which is interesting because that would put the right side of Ganon's Tower. I guess it's not fully in logic. It would put just the tile room in logic until we get the 4th GT small. And here's the sad triple dip of Tower of Hera, but luckily it's not the worst thing when Tower of Hera is right over in Kakariko like this.
And honestly, for this particular race, I love it. I love Turnabout Samurai. This music is the bomb.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of the Ace Attorney trilogy in MSU as well.
Yes, and I'm literally sitting here dancing because this is my jam.
And that's a big find there too. The Desert Palace Big Key, it's required this seed, so definitely worth the dip there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And something that to point out on Alaszun's side a little bit, he did not have the Cane of Samaria coming in here, so unfortunately he's going to have to take a little bit of extra time using the just the bomb jump normal sort of way. Having the 2 small keys though really helps routing when you don't have Icebreaker. And now, so that would normally be huge if you get the Tower of Hera. It's definitely big for Wallkicks to have gotten it without, he could have skipped that for a while. Alaszun has not done Tower of Hera yet. I can't remember, the big key was on Ice Armos, which he'll probably do before going to Tower of Hera again. and we'll get to see this Meyer checks for the first time over on Wallkicks side. This entrance and the item down on the ledge were in logic, but nothing else over here is quite yet. We still need another 3 pod smalls.
Okay, so both of our medallions for the 2 entrances this race have been bombos for both Meyer and Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Bombos getting a lot of play this seed with Wallkicks doing the Bombos Ice Palace and then Bombos for both of the medallion entrances.
And I mean, while we're over here, why don't we just, well, no, we'd have to find a different way back to get the Bombos tablet.
Yeah, we don't have the book yet.
Oh, right, yes, we do not. I'm sorry, I just assumed that we have pretty much everything at this point except for Ice Rod.
All right, so Desert Palace and Swamp Palace are the red crystals today, which is notable because those are both currently full clearable. I don't know if there's any entrances in particular that we're looking for right now. It would have to be for an item entrance because we have found all of our dungeons that we need, I believe. I guess, no, Backup Desert can't be in there, so yeah.
And now we get to see what is in the Vanilla Checkerboard Cave today. Going to be absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a connector to this Meyer area, which means that this is hard locked by all 6 of the pod smalls. Well, you see Spiral Cave, but that's a one-way. You can't go backwards through that entrance to get here.
And Desert Main for our check-in here. Yeah, this has been pretty understandably a not prosperous Meyer check.
Yeah, I mean that with those mitts could just be pretty late in the seed and nothing else is available over here, so it's not a surprise to find nothing too useful.
Yeah. But it'll be nice to go through this connector. It is one item, probably not going to be a helpful one.
Yeah, decent chance it's Laser Bridge entrance.
Agate Tower small. So that's nice to see here because it's very unlikely that Agate Tower is going to provide much of anything for our runners.
Yeah, you like to have one Agate Tower small because it's going to be in a bad location, because if it wasn't in a bad location, these runners would have already found it. So it's going to be somewhere not nice to get to. And you'd like to get the one item. We know we don't have to beat Aghanim himself because the useless fairy drop down is there. Oh, and yeah, to our checker pointing out, Tofile, that we've seen Spiral Bottom way back in the 10-minute route of that being in Kakariko. So I'm kind of curious, we're kind of like a couple of small keys short of this puzzle making a little bit of sense, because we find the another pod small between these runners and the Cane of Samari's in logic, and we need another GT. Well, I guess Alaszun has all 3, so that will put the flippers into logic. So we'll see when Alaszun makes his way over to GT. It should be pretty soon. Gonna knock out some Turtle Rock over here first, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him go over to GT relatively quickly after this. Because interesting, we still haven't seen Chain Chomp chests from either of these runners, and they've both known about it for quite a while.
And let's see what's hiding behind Kiki the Monkey today for Wallkicks. It is going to be Eastern, correct?
Yep, it's Eastern, and that's unfortunate for Wallkicks because you're tempted to dip this Eastern because it's such a bad location to get back to. And we know it's full clearable. He just hasn't been to Skull Woods yet. We'll see if Wallkicks does go in there. It's definitely tempting, but he's going to go away, which is actually, we know that's going to be good for him. Eastern was pretty empty, and the Skull Woods has the big key. Yeah, I think he's more interested in going over to the pyramid right now. All right, so there's that book over in the lava chest of Turtle Rock, which will not be in Logic for a while. We still need 3 more Turtle Rock Smalls. All right, I'm definitely interested in this. I would not be surprised to see this be a pod or a GT small here. It's just been in Logic for a while. But nope, it's just going to be 20 bucks today.
A whole lot of nothing. I mean, normally I wouldn't complain about getting 20 bucks for free, but in Crosskeys, 20 bucks is not that exciting.
And Wallkicks getting his fire rod. He unfortunately, again, maybe this will push him to Skullwoods because he's got the Skullwoods big key. He's got the fire rod. He needs a Skullwoods small. There's really that you can go and do everything you want back there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go there pretty quickly. It's also pretty item dense. And speaking of that big chest, we'll see Alaszun show us what's inside. It's just bombs today.
And a quick little flipper over to Hobo, since he's right here anyway.
Yeah, it's very nice when you can check him using the mirror by the pod area. And a tempered sword, very nice find. And we'll get to also take a look at probably pedestal as well while Alaszun's over here, because we even picked up the book on the way over here.
Ooh, ped check would be nice to see.
Yeah, we still need the Thieves Town big key to be able to pull the pedestal, but otherwise, between what we've seen here, it would be fully in Logic. And it's a Castle Tower small, so that one that Wallkicks got could be important only if that one chest has something good. So Castle Tower small on pedestal can be ruined. It can be terrible in Crosskeys if Ganon is locked in the Lumberjack spot, because it can be literally anywhere. It can be in the GT entrance, but luckily that will be avoided today because they're just useless fairy at that Lumberjack drop down. All right, so Alaszun's making his way over to Ganon's tower. We've already seen all of the items that he will be getting today, so no new checks. We'll see what he does with the information he gets, though, because he'll get the Tower of Hera big key from here, which may push him over towards going to Hera, because he hasn't beaten that yet. And I'm kind of wondering, so Wallkicks, okay, he probably goes up to the catfish area right now, I think. I don't know if he's been up there yet.
No, he hasn't pulled catfish yet.
Yeah, because at this point, right side, Swamp Palace is the juiciest play to me right now, because once Alaszun makes his way over to the flippers, he'll know it's fully in Lodge, you just full clear. Whereas Wallkicks may have been putting that off for a little bit, because Swamp Palace can be a bit annoying to full clear, and it's not in Logic for him yet. And it'll be actually interesting for Alaszun. I guess he doesn't seem to know Meyer is a pendant yet, because once he gets the flippers, then he'll have the ability to clear Meyer and Swamp Palace, and we know Meyer is mostly empty, but it could have something in the 2 items we haven't seen. Oh, yeah, he has to go to Pod first before he can do Meyer. And Wallkicks gets a hold of his sword, his silvers, and we'll get to check these flipper checks we've already seen. There's nothing too nice over here. I guess that big key to swamp could come up. Maybe that'll push Wally over to the Swamp Palace area. So Blibro, we kind of at a bit of a bottleneck here. What do you kind of think we'll be seeing next from these runners?
Let's see. What do we have access to, and what haven't we found yet? Well, we haven't found Back at Desert, and we haven't found Aga Tower. Has anybody checked Hylia Island entrances? Was I blind and missed those?
We definitely have not seen Ice Palace. I don't know if Wallkicks went into the upgrade fair entrance, but I don't remember seeing it, so that could be something.
Yeah, with entrances still needing to be found for both of our runners, that'll be something that they'll have to keep in mind. But GT Right definitely is attempting. Even without so many GT keys, still going to be attempting dip to do.
Yeah, especially when you've got Swamp Palace sitting there with 10 items, you got to figure there's going to be one of those GT smalls over there, right? Though I guess the one thing that makes you not want to do right side GT is that if you find the GT big key later, it's going to be a really bad one-off to get back to that big chest.
There we go, Eastern Palace Big, and he is just running, mirroring out, and going for the big chest.
Yeah, I'm sure Wallkicks is glad to see that big key there, knowing that he made the right call, not dipping Eastern. Alaszun getting his flippers, so we'll see if when he decides to take those over to Swamp. I think so. Tower of Hera is in the it's in the Kakariko area, and then Swamp's in the Village of Outcasts area. And even if you want to get really spicy, Pod and Meyer are also over there, and he can't clear Meyer yet, but if he goes into Pod, he could get the cane. So this could be interesting to see like Alaszun do a bunch of dungeons. And I think that we'll see Wallkicks also do dungeons, like Chad's mentioning. He's got Skullwoods over in the Pod Fairy entrance, and then Eastern over in the Pod entrance itself. So once he steals the Skullwoods small key, he can go beat Skullwoods, and he has the Eastern big key, so he can beat Eastern. Oh, and something Alaszun's showing us right now is something that kind of going to be a bit annoying to check is these book checks. For Alaszun, it's not as bad because I don't think he did the Tower of Hera entrance yet, and it's just 3 bombs. But the Bombos entrance and the Bombos tablet and that tablet are both kind of isolated at this point. So I think we can kind of check in and say, like, what items do we still need? Well, we need to find the Back of Desert, which I guess that's not really an item, but maybe there are items involved. And then we need to find the Ice Rod to beat Turtle Rock and the Pod Big Key, it looks like. So we're down to 2 items and 1 entrance at this point.
Yep, that's it at the very least, because again, some of this might be inside pendant dungeon, so Thieves Town big chest, anywhere in the back of Thieves Town. Aga Tower could still provide us with any of this information.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could have something like the Back of Desert being in one of the Bonk Rocks, and you need the boots to beat the seed, but we don't quite know that right now. And Alaszun had to go back into the Hera basement there for the pot because he picked up an item from the Mulvorm so that can screw up your bomb jump.
Very nice. Alaszun made his way into Tower of Hera and got himself his Desert Big Key. Lucky he didn't have to tempt himself to skip that.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying because he was just in Desert and now he has the Big Key, so he'll probably leave that entrance just like Wallkicks did for a little while.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
And we'll see. I don't know if Wallkicks saw any of these connectors. We know that the left goes to Bonk Rocks by Sank, and the top goes to Dark Sank. So he doesn't look like he's interested in those.
No.
And yeah, so Chad bringing up that Desert is actually pretty likely to be boots locked at this point because we've just seen so many entrances. These entrances that Wally's going to, these are kind of our last ones that we haven't seen yet. Also, I don't know if we've seen Graveyard Ledge either. And then there's like Top of Bumper Cave, which no, they saw that one. All right, so Alaszun's going into Mire, which is a bit unfortunate because he will, well, it's not as bad with the Cane, this is being a pendant, but the Cane is just sitting over in Pod, but Pod's not in logic for him, so it makes sense to go in here. Though I'm still a bit surprised to see both of these runners just not want to go into Swamp. Like, it's in a good location, you can just
Pod Big Key inside Aga.
That's a big play, and so what would be an even bigger play here is this one, because of Wallkicks' sequence break of Pod, he got the mitts much earlier than Alaszun's going to get them. And the other small key's on the pedestal. But just not anything required.
Yeah. But that big key to Pod, very much required.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So that makes it so that we're just looking for that Ice Rod and the Desert Palace entrance, which probably is the boots at this point. But that's saying just the boots and just the Ice Rod and Crosskeys. That's could still be a lot of stuff. And yeah, that is interesting because those mitts hard lock that Ice Palace entrance. So the mitts were locked by 6 Pod Smalls, and the Pod Big is locked by the mitts. So interesting to see Pod kind of locking itself with the required double, maybe even, it could have even been a triple dip if I didn't see what other items we got in there. It probably actually is a triple dip because it's likely that one of the Pod Smalls at least is locked by the Canis Maria.
Oh yeah, that's very likely.
Because at this point, a good amount of the items left in the game are locked by the Canis Maria. We got at least 5. And I just kind of want to see when one of these runners gets to Swamp, because that's going to be where we will see most of our new checks. We get to see the big chest of Mire here from Alaszun, and that will be our first new check in quite a while.
Down goes Mothula, providing that small key to Ice. Not needed, but appreciated, I guess. Most important part being that crystal coming out of Skullwoods for Wallkicks' second crystal of the match.
Yep, and it looks like he's heading right over to that Eastern Palace in Pod's entrance to full clear another dungeon.
Definitely the smart move, well, right next door to it for sure.
And I didn't catch what was in that Mire Big. I was had to refresh the stream. Was there anything interesting in there?
Bombs. Okay, thank you. I was like, I know it wasn't anything interesting. I didn't remember what it was.
Yeah, that's a common experience in Randomizer. You group the items into bad and not bad, and forget what it is. And Chad asking about Swamp Big Key. That was on Zora. Looks like Alaszun's making his way over to Bombo's tablet.
Oh no, the small key is what they were asking about.
Oh, small key was in Blind's hut, which is in the Curiosity Cup. So. And just 10 arrows up on that Bombo's tablet. And looks like we're going to see that Desert Palace big chest for the first time. Wallkicks has had the big for a little while, and Alaszun got it quite recently.
Looking at chat here now, I do believe this is the cross-examination music from Ace Attorney? Yes.
From the first game.
Yes.
All right, let's see where Alaszun is headed over here. I'm trying to think what's in the Dark World on this side. Yeah, this makes sense. Going to get that Bombos medallion, which we know is required for both of the entrances that end medallions lock. They're not anything good, but you do need it to open those entrances. Ooh, and this is actually going to be really good for Al. Or no, he doesn't have the mitts yet. Oh, yeah, it would have been really good if he could get that Pod Big Key, because then he could get the Samaria from Pod, but you have to go into Pod to get the Pod Big Key. And it looks like, I think if it is the fact that there's 2 pod smalls locked by the Cane of Samaria, this is just a really rude seed for people who are trying to follow the logic for Palace of Darkness. Alaszun about to get his Tempered Sword over here. I'm not sure what the hobo was doing with that sword, but definitely happy to take it off his hands.
Yeah, he seems like retired from fighting.
He picked a good time right before the castle got taken over.
Exactly.
All right, so this may finally be Swamp Palace from our runners, because Alaszun is going over to the Thieves Town area, and Swamp Palace is in that Hammer House. Oh, it's possible that Alaszun has not seen Swamp. Yeah, he hasn't. Okay, that makes a lot of sense as to why he hasn't gone there, because for Wallkicks it wasn't in logic, but Alaszun just never saw it.
Yeah, Wallkicks is still hunting for that small key.
Yeah, he hasn't found that small key. So I guess it makes sense now why both of our runners did it. Kind of forgot that it's interesting because those are like the only entrances in both of those areas that these runners haven't checked, because Alaszun didn't have the hammer, and just the way that Wallkicks routed, he didn't check Curiosity Shop.
Yes, and just to point out, that first chest in Swamp Palace is the GT Big.
Yeah, that's a good find for Alaszun, because when he does get his cane, though I guess the meanest thing would be if that's a pod big and a pod small in the GT big chest, because once he gets the cane of Samaria, then you just clear out right side GT and do the big chest. So I think that'll actually be good for both runners to get that once they do. We'll see if Wallkicks is going to make his way over to the Curiosity Shop here, because I'm not sure how much else in this area he hasn't done.
Yes, and keeping in mind that behind GT Big is that climb leading to the well.
Yeah, that always will weigh on you once you have the access to it. I mean, and Alaszun even has 3 GT Big, GT Smalls to go along with it, so there's still one more to go, but a lot of runners abide by that sort of principle where if you're only one small key short of something being in Logic, you can almost treat it like it is in Logic.
Yes.
The obvious exception is being Swamp Palace, because you need all 1 to get in.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of, Wallkicks has gotten his Swamp Palace.
There we go.
So I think you'll see him follow in Alaszun's footsteps and go right into Swamp here. It's 10 items, he knows where it is, and it's full clearable. And then right now, they're really looking for basically the boots and ice rod. So depending on what we get out of this Swamp Palace, probably see them go over to right side Ganon's Tower. And honestly, probably be tempted to do the climb at this point, because there just isn't that much in Logic. I guess Alaszun has, he has nothing in Logic in Pod, but you might get tempted with 3 smalls to go over there. I mean, I guess he has to do that before he can even do right side GT. But with 3 smalls, you might be tempted to go over there to maybe skip the climb.
Yes, you're hoping so, but again, not only are we still hunting for those 2 items, we are hunting for the entrance to
this one right here.
Desert. Wow, okay, well then.
So that actually eliminates the boots requirement. This was the last non-boots locked entrance that they had. But yeah, that was a nice commentator blessing for Wallkicks, able to find one of the things he needs.
Alright, so Ice Rod Hunt, still good old Ice Rod. Never fails to upset runners all across the globe.
Absolutely. Like, this run, it's probably going to be whoever. I'd be very surprised to see somebody pick up the ice rod first and then not go on to win this seed here.
Yep. Now, I tend to have my own pointless and not at all accurate standards for who is winning any race at any given time. I usually go by who has the most hurts, which means absolutely nothing, but guaranteed throughout almost every single race, you'll always have somebody pop into chat and just ask, who's in the lead? And I just say, whoever has the most hearts.
Yeah, I mean, there are worse heuristics, but...
Yes.
Right, and with these true ice rod hunts, the answer to that is nobody's in the lead. I guess maybe chat's in the lead, because they could be 1 check away, they could be 50 checks away, so we don't know how many checks these runners have left.
Yeah. Oh my.
Though chat pointing out the whole pod big key situation, I agree. That is definitely something big for Alaszun, but he could easily neutralize that by just getting the ice rod a little earlier. And it's really going to depend, because Alaszun's going to have to go into pod at some point, right? And then it's just, what decisions does he make? And honestly, I think it depends if he finds Desert first, because if you don't find Desert, that Ice Palace entrance is much more appealing than if you've already found it. But at this point, given what we've seen from these runners, okay, we've seen all of the 5-item caves. We've seen Saj Rala, we've seen Hookshot Cave, we've seen both the fairies, just saw Mire Shed there. It's really looking like the GT climb or GT right side is going to have our ice rod, just because there's not that many. The entrances that we can get, they're just not very dense. There's going to be a couple one-offs, I'm sure, but not really much else.
Yeah, this has been a very thorough seed. 1 hour, 37 minutes in, and so much of this has already been cleared off by our runners.
Yeah, it's really nice. These runners can really show off their knowledge when you get as many items as you got early with like the gloves and the mirror and the moon pearl. You can really see just a really nice and efficient route doing basically everything in the seed. All right, looks like Alaszun's going to show us the climb. So I'm honestly very expecting to see at least one Palace of Darkness small key up here. And then whatever else is up here, it's going to be interesting. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see the ice rod as well. It could be on the right side of TT though. And yeah, so chat pointing out, Alaszun has all 4 GT small. So from his point of view, there's 9 items in logic here versus some number. He's got like the Bowlock side of Palace of Darkness plus the back of pod out of logic. And I'm sure he's figuring, okay, with that bottle placement, if my opponent got a bomb, they probably got that Bowlock side of pod already. Don't want to, if something was there, it's probably over for me. So it just makes a lot of sense to do this here. And really, Wallkicks is kind of going to be, we'll see where these runners are once Alaszun gets out of GT. That will really tell us a lot about this seed, because Alaszun's got that big piece of the puzzle to find that Titan's Mitts locked, Dark Palace big key, which is the Titan's Mitts are in Dark Palace. But Wallkicks has some other isolated checks to get to that Alaszun has already done. We'll see how many he elects to do. Like with that book, it gives him the tablets plus the pedestal that you may want to check.
But point being made that it is out of logic, so might not tempt him as much as say GT would at this point, or Swamp Palace.
And we'll see what Wallkicks elects to do with this GT big key after he finishes Swamp Palace, because he could also follow in Alaszun's footsteps, but also do right side GT, which kind of chat's mentioning that when you get late in the seed, you don't really care about logic as much. And since Wallkicks is only 1 item away from go mode, you can kind of just do whatever's best for you. And chat asking about pod big key. That's really the most annoying item placed this seed. So the Titan's Mitts are in the back of pod in the Dark Maze. And then we have Ice Palace entrance has the Aga Tower, which has the first chest being the pod big key. So it's kind of mean. So Alaszun's making his way up to the first couple of chests we'll see in the climb. These could be some pretty important items depending on when Wallkicks gets over here. There's one important item, that's the ice rod.
Oh my. Yeah, that is very, very, very nice to find.
On the contrary though, that Thieves Town Big is going to be a red herring there for Alaszun. So we'll see if he finds the pod small that I really hope he finds up here to kind of push him towards Palace of Darkness, but you might just do Thieves Town instead. Because I think right now, if you're rooting for Alaszun, what you kind of have to hope for is that he gets a pod small here, goes into pod, gets everything he can, being the Cane of Samaria and the Mitts, and realizes he's pod big key from go mode and finding desert, goes on a hunt for desert, and happens to check Ice Palace entrance before Graveyard Launch. Because if he finds Desert Palace, he's going to be incentivized to do something like Thieves Town rather than hunt single item entrances.
Yeah, so now it's just a matter of when Wallkicks is going to GT.
And to do those climbs specifically, though,
Yes.
he
Yeah,
probably
right
once you
side
go
is
there, he
point-
probably does everything.
Yeah, right side is pointless. The only thing that right side might give us is possibly boots, but that's not useful to anyone at this point. If he does the climb before he takes on right side, which unfortunately, actually with the number of checks, with the well behind it, he might do the climb first, but normally be right side and then climb.
Yeah, I think you do the right side first here. And maybe you skip tile room, because I don't think Wally did that first time around, but he's got all 4 GT smalls, and it's just so much quicker to get the 4 items in the right side than the climb. And we'll see how many pod smalls. I gotta expect there to be at least one in this well here. There's one. There's our gold sword.
And another Turtle Rock small.
Now, so one thing to point out, so with Alaszun committing to the climb and getting the pod small, that might incentivize him to go into pod and get the 4 items that are in logic with that. And looks like we're gonna see Alaszun might be skipping the Harmless Hellway here with getting this chest.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think Wallkicks is in a better position just because all he has to do is get the ice rod. But I think there's also still routes for Alaszun because he's going to get his cane and mitts here, and then he has to just go on the desert palace hunt. He'll probably check Mire area, which would be unfortunate for him because there's just nothing over there. But he needs to find the Palace of Darkness big key before desert, or I don't think he's going to have a chance here. Ooh, and with that save and quit there, though, that's going to be hard for Alaszun because he didn't go into the back. Interesting to see him go. Maybe, I'm not sure what he's doing there going in the back because he has the 4 pod small, so he could have gone further in the back. But again, maybe he's feeling like his opponent may have already gone in there.
Okay, he was just scumming. He was scumming
Okay.
From the top.
That makes sense. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, with Pod being in this close of a position to the save and quit spot, he decided to save from it, yeah. And Wally going to the back here actually gives Alaszun a little bit more time because he's just gonna be able. He just has the big chest in the Harmless Hellway here, which we know are not gonna have anything useful. A key to pod would be something interesting to find over here, but nope, no key in pod. So I think, let's see where Wallkicks is going to head to now. This looks like he's going to Ganon's Tower. So definitely Alaszun is going to be on the clock here to it looks like he's going to pick up purple chest too.
Yeah, might as well. Just to try to route it all in together in case GT is not the answer.
and I'll be interested to see a bit how much Alaszun cares about the logic for these myths, because with the myths being out of logic, my area is out of logic too. So you might not want to go look for desert there, but at the same time, we don't really care how deep Desert Palace is in the sea. We just got to beat it.
Oh, and now he's going over to Bombo's tablet.
He's going to do Desert Palace Big Chest first.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised to see this before doing right side GT, but I guess he just wants to be as thorough as possible because the climb is just too tempting. You figure whenever you have Kakariko well behind the climb, sometimes if you find yourself in GT, it can clear it. It's really hard not to. It's got quite a strong gravitational pull.
Yeah, and I guess he's covering himself off in case any of these nearby checks, one-offs, actually have the answer if he can avoid doing those checks and not giving his opponent the opportunity to do those checks while he's muddling through GT. It's good to kind of clear that out for him.
Okay, so this is a flute to 6, so if Alaszun had fluted directly to 8 there, that would have definitely been an interesting play, but it makes a lot of sense here, because he knows this is not in logic, but there's just, Desert could just be over here, and then you need to beat it no matter what.
And back into Turtle Rock, clearing out, how many does he have left here? A couple. He has 2 checks left in here.
I don't know if he ever made it back to Chomp's chest either. But yeah, there's definitely a point of view where you want to do these like Turtle Rock chests here and stuff, because just if you do a climb and your opponent doesn't, it's kind of hard to win. So definitely don't blame Wallkicks here for wanting to be thorough before getting to GT. Yeah, it looks like Wallkicks did actually make it to Chomps already.
Yeah, the only check that's left now is Trinex.
Yeah, so it's looking really good here for Wallkicks now. He's going to go over to Yen's tower, probably do the right side first, but the amount of time he's going to spend doing a not important right side is going to pale a bit in comparison to Alaszun's search for the pod big, plus the desert's back, plus doing pod itself. And it's kind of, it's really nice to see how much of the sea these runners have cleared out in like an hour and 51 minutes, because there's not very many checks between the 2 runners that we haven't seen.
Yeah, this is going to be a good item check count come the end of this. Small key to Skull Woods, shovel, 20 rupees.
And gonna make his way over to that Ganon's Tower big chest as well. All right, so Alaszun is going where he needs to go to get that pot big key. So this is at least one piece. He could maybe make this interesting here. Getting the harder piece of the puzzle. It's just that beating the bosses is the main difficult time to make up.
Yes, but he will get front chest and then its second chest. Wait, no, second chest was,
It was a Canterbury.
Yes, right.
Yeah, he doesn't, and Alaszun knows that So the only item he could need right now is the boots, and we'll see how much he wants to chase after that right now. Because I think from his perspective, I think the only item. Oh no, he's got Turtle Rock entrance and entrance left too. So that's probably where he's headed to. Okay, and yeah, Alaszun has not seen these yet. He could have jumped down, but it didn't make sense because he had the light roll drop downs. So he's going right now. He's just hunting for Desert Palace because like you're either in go mode or you're locked by entrances. So you just kind of go at you want to push it so that you can get to those entrances that you have access to right now. Looks like we're going to see a Turtle Rock clear from Alaszun here.
That's totally understandable with the Ice Rod in hand. Might as well clear that out while he's here.
Yeah, maybe you can think of a plan of what entrances you want to get. Also, he could just find the boots, for instance, in here. This is time he's going to spend. It's not like Palace of Darkness, you might get tempted to go to like the big chest here. But for Helmasaur, he's just gonna beat it, and then maybe he gets boots.
And getting very close on Wallkicks side now.
Yeah, Wallkicks has the big advantage of he gets the Ice Rod and he just leaves. He doesn't do any Aghanim. He doesn't do the well, so he just gets to leave right away. It's looking like there's just a little bit too much for Alaszun to make up. That early pod diff was just very big for Wallkicks, getting the cane and the mitts, which led to the pod big key. It was kind of a disaster scenario there for Alaszun with that pod big key. And at this point, it looks like we've probably got our other Palace of Darkness small keys, like either on Vitreous or in Thieves Town, because that's the main things we haven't seen yet. We still only have 4 pod smalls with hard required mix. Oh yeah, Tracker Top File's right, pointing out that we have 4, but they have 1 different because Alaszun got 1 from the well that Wallkicks doesn't have.
Oh, okay.
And looks like Alaszun probably going to make his way over to... Let's see if he's going to pod first or if he's going to make his way to Graveyard Ledge, which is the answer. It's just unfortunate. It's going to be a little too late here, as Wallkicks just has to be Trinex and then drop into Ganon.
And Trinex is a pretty quick fight. Good, easy access to this entrance.
Yeah, it's kind of nice in like regular mode. If you just have to beat Trinex, that's normally pretty long. Like if Wallkicks had to go through the whole dungeon and Alaszun just had to find Desert and beat Pod, it would be pretty close. But like with Laser Bridge access, it's a piece of cake to get back to Helmasaur. Or I mean Trinex. And one of the big problems with Quick Swap is that you sometimes get Bombos usages like this. Now, unfortunately, unlike Cold Stare, Bombos does not thaw the Ice Head. Well, Alaszun will at least get his go mode here. Finding Desert Palace about the same time that Trinex is going to go down on Wallkicks' side.
And there we go. 7 out of 7 crystals, 4 Wallkicks. now to just make his way back to Hyrule Castle, Uncle drop down for where Ganon is located today.
Yep, Tenny has Tempered Sword and Silvers, so it won't be too hard to fight that Gold Sword sitting over in Kakariko. Well, definitely Wallkicks will not need that to be able. You can still do the double one cycle with the Tempered, so it won't even be that much of a time save to have Gold.
No, definitely not. Yeah, Tempered and Silvers for Ganon is not a hard fight at all.
Nope, nice and quick. That's one of the things about Crosskeys. You're often going into Ganon pretty decked out because you just check a lot of locations. And Wallkicks able to get the double one cycle there with the Tempered Swords. Just going to need 4 silver hits after Ganon's done with this warp phase, and Ganon will be down.
I am bopping to this tune.
Yes, Ganon. The Ganon tune is quite a nice one.
Yeah, I have to say this is one of my favorite, this is definitely one of my favorite MSUs of all of them.
Yeah, it's very, very good one. Very popular right now, so you get to see it on a lot of streams. All right, there's the last silver arrow going into Ganon. So Wallkicks just has to cross this. He'll be able to finish just under 2 hours in this. They had to clear a lot in the seat, so that's definitely an impressive time here. So get your GGs in chat for Wallkicks.
GGs. Oh my goodness. So that was a great run for both of our runners, definitely. Alaszun won't be too far behind now. Just needs to clear out Pod, and he'll be right into Ganon now as well. It won't take very long.
Yeah, absolutely. This was definitely a close race. It was really interesting, just some of the early game decisions, the differences between the two, and really that Pod decision was the real clincher for Wallkicks, able to get his go mode with that Ice Rod rather than having to go back for the cane and the big key to Pod was very nice for him.
Oh yes, definitely. And I do see that Wallkicks will be joining us now for a chat. I believe that he is bringing himself into the waiting room to be brought into chat with us. And here he is, GG's Wallkicks.
GG's.
Just under 2 hours. That was awesome.
A little concerned that Ganon Warp was going to kill my sub too, but did not.
That's good. That is good. It was, yeah, that was excellent. Very well routed, just how you found items and was able to just kind of clear everything. Your early mirror compared to Alaszun took him a little bit longer to find himself with the mirror. So here he is, GG's Wallkicks. Just
a little surprising
just under 2 hours.
That it took him long to get the mirror, because I was just in Kakariko. I wonder if it was just a lack of resource situation at the beginning.
Yeah, he went to so he just routed Kak a little different and also did the really early old man sequence break and didn't get to Tower of Air till a little bit later. So you got an extra entrance on him on the mountain and got to know, I guess, that the mountain was in logic a little earlier than he did.
Fair.
It wasn't too long, but yeah, it's definitely nice.
Yeah.
So what did you think about that Pod big key placement?
I'm glad that it validated my second trip into Pod with that second small key. Just because I was a little concerned that I wasn't super intent on following Mitts early on because of just the fact that it was locked by all 6 Pod keys. But I kept it in the back of my mind, and so when the Pod big showed up in Aga Tower at Ice Rod or at Ice Palace, which was Mitts locked, I felt really good about that second play because I got that second key somewhat early, but not before I'd already dipped Pod for the first 5.
Yeah, that play actually is the difference in this race because you had the cane and the mitts and eventually the pod big key before Alaszun did. So Alaszun did the climb, found the ice rod before you, but he wasn't in go mode when he got that. So he still had to clear out the rest of the climb. And then once he did that, he got into pod pretty quickly because that fourth pod small kind of made it in logic, but he wasn't able to go right to desert afterwards, check my area and stuff. So you just had a little bit of a lead from already having your cane and mitts.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like I suspected if anything was going to trip him up, and I see he just finished. It would have potentially been that desert big and Hera big chest, but it wasn't hard to get back to, honestly.
Yeah, he actually waited to full clear Hera until he had the big.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a fun race. I have to admit, it wasn't too punishing of a seed for either runner, and came in with a really good time for both of you. Just on that 2-hour mark, slightly before for you, and just a couple minutes after for Alaszun. So very close, very good matchup between you two for the first match of this quarterfinals.
Yeah, it looks like Alaszun will be joining us as well for a chat.
Ooh, excellent. GG's, Alaszun.
GG's.
Yo, GG's, dude.
GG's. Sounds like this was a pretty decent one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch from our end of things, getting to see what items you guys were kind of getting before the other, and it was that pod big that was the nail for you, but it was still so close that anything could have made that difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was really the pod big. Like, the pod big didn't actually hold me back at all, because I was still looking for the back of desert.
Yeah, it was definitely good you found that before you found Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, that would have been real bad, because I would have stopped looking for entrances, and that would have set me behind a lot.
Yeah, because you didn't have very many other options. Like, there was maybe some one-offs left. I wasn't fully tracking your chest entrances, but you were down to not much left in entrances.
Let's see what I got. I had Vitreous, I had Smith Chain, Never Found a Hammer Pig, Spike Cave, Sick Kid, Ice Rod Cave, and I never went through Spiral Cave. Because I didn't so much care about the item in Spiral Cave, I just kind of was looking for entrances at that point.
So was finding back a desert your go mode then?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
I kind of was hedging for a bit because I just really wanted to know, do I need boots or not?
Did you ever find boots?
Nope.
Yeah, neither did I.
So
Looking
I would
like
guess
Thieves Town at this
right
point.
side. I would say Thieves Town or right side GT, but I'm not sure if you went back in for right side GT or not.
I did.
Okay.
I did right side before I climbed Ice Rod was my go mode.
Okay, that sucks. I was a little worried. I sort of saw this. I'm like, well, this is kind of good that this doesn't lock anything else, but I would really, really like it if I didn't waste time killing Aga.
It was seeing the ice rod up there. It's like, okay, yeah, it's the climbers required, but at the same time, with the well being behind the climb, it was kind of a no-brainer.
I didn't feel good at all about that ice rod. Like I was glad the climb wasn't useless, but I'm not like, okay, Wally's gonna miss this because there's no reason to climb. The climb was screaming at you. You had four small keys. You had the big key. I also think that GT double dip was forced unless you steal the key for Back of Desert, which, given the Back of Desert was my go mode, and also I don't steal the desert keys, like, ever. Yep. Yeah. That was alright. It wasn't too bad, other than the absolute lack of boots. I guess I was hoping that you would Herapotted, but depending on how risk-averse you were, there's a pretty good chance that you didn't.
I actually did Herapot, but I went back for Hera Big just when activating my flute. Because at that point, like, that was the closest that I was ever going to be to Hera. Let's get that check out of the way. It's not a long check.
That's really annoying. Okay.
Sorry, dude.
I saw them like, wow, that's a really bad check if you Herapot. And I had my flute. I would guess I had my flute before Wallkicks, given what he just said.
Probably.
Yeah, you did. You found Hyrule Castle a lot earlier than he did. Because you kind of did your kind of classic explore the whole Dark World once you got that hammer. And Wallkicks did more item dipping. Like, he got to GT a lot before you did. And did, like, Meyer and Pod dip.
I was trying really, really hard to get the GT Big Key before I went into GT, which, impossible in this seed, given where the GT Big Key ended up.
Speaking of Meyer dip, Wally.
Look, I had trouble with bombs, okay? And then at that point I'm like, you know what? It's still super early. I can come back here with the sword. I tried to kill the wizards with the bombs. That was not going well.
They're immune to bombs.
I was say, did you not know that they're immune to bombs?
I mean, I do now.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
There's a good life lesson.
Yeah,
it's like
precisely.
you think you're just missing them because of the teleports. I know when I did it, I did that in the race once, and it's like, I'm just missing them. I'll keep bombing, but they're like, oh, that one had to have hit. Come on. But nope, they're just immune.
All right, well, see, there you go. You'll learn.
Yeah,
But I figured I was pretty late to my cane on the whole because I didn't dip pod. Like, I climbed before I dipped pod.
Oh wow.
Because I was getting really, really low. Like, logically, if I have the logic read right, you need to climb to get your 4th pod small key from the well, so that you can get the Cane of Samaria, which probably actually opens up the rest of the seed.
That makes sense. I mean, because I only ever found 4 pod keys, period. And
I only found 4 pod keys as well, but one of them was in the last item I found in the well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe one of them was cane locked in Turtle Rock. I can't remember where Wally got his last one.
That sounds right, because when I went into actually clear pod, I only had 3 keys, and by that point, like, my end game actually routed extremely efficiently, even if I started just at the end of that route, because I did Swamp Palace minus left side, went down to do pod, and then I turned in purple chest, did the front of Turtle Rock with the fire rod, and then right side GT in the climb, kind of all
I did
right there.
I did Swamp Palace into the climb. Since I was just kind of there, I'm like, well, it's 9 items, I guess I better go.
Yeah.
Something's probably up there. I'm still missing 3 items, and Swamp was a giant bust.
Yeah.
There was a small key to something on left side. I want to say like Turtle Rock or something.
There was the GT Big in the very first chest.
Oh, yeah.
That's the very first chest, though.
Yeah, it's basically free.
Yeah. I mean, like, I had the tools to full clear Swamp when I found it. Because I had gone into VU and just never had an occasion to go back. And then ended up just like trying to do myth checks, and the Meyer area was useless. And yeah, I mean, shit happens.
Yeah.
I'm finding these boots, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, we're watching from the back end and can see him running around the back of Thieves Town right now.
Well, that means you found the Thieves Big.
It was right next to the ice rod.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Fair
I'm like,
enough.
wait, I don't remember that being that bad.
Yeah, I was actually worried that if you had routed to Graveyard Ledge before Ice Palace, that you would just full clear Thieves Town before ever finding that pod big. But luckily, you were able to go to Ice Palace first.
I would have. It would have been real bad. I would have gone to GT. I would have done right side. I would have gone to the big chest, and then I would have gone for Thieves Town. That was the route that I had basically had decided. I probably also would have done front of Turtle Rock at that point too. Because I kind of waffled a little bit trying to see, like, well, do I need boots? Do I not need boots? I kind of want to know, and then just happened to run into the pod big on the way, which is really nice. Hey, there's pod 5.
That would be, if you're in Thieves Town, that'd technically be pod. Well, it'd be pod 6 because collectively I had a pod key that you didn't.
Where did you get your? Was there one on right side GT by chance?
No,
I think it was
was.
Turtle Rock.
I think it was fire locked in TR.
Yeah, Tofile said our tracker that it was Fireside TR cane locked.
Because between the two of you guys basically did everything but Thieves Town.
Hey Wally, you want to know where the boots are?
Are they in the Thieves' Big Chest?
They are in the Thieves' Big Chest.
Yeah! That
Nice.
sucks so hard.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, if that ever happened to come up, then it would have just been Boots entrances hunting for the back of desert.
I would say I assume you had found desert before you climbed, right?
Yes.
So it's not like you knew 100% that you weren't gonna.
Correct.
Okay, that's not surprising. I almost checked Graveyard Ledge earlier on in the seed. Because I got bailed out so hard in this seed. Because I was being really stingy and not buying bombs, and I had one bomb when I found Sahasrara and the connector that gave you the hookshot.
Oh,
But Sahasrara had 3 bombs in the back.
heck yes. Hey, sometimes that
I
works
just
out.
started laughing. I'm like, oh my god, I just got Giga bailed. And then I saw where that went. I'm like, oh, I just got Omega bailed. All right, well, okay. That's my luck expended for the seed.
That
All
was
right, 1 sec, Jinxie.
Bugnet required.
Yeah, I'm worried at the shovel spot.
I would say, where's the shovel? I never found that.
Right side GT.
Of course it is. Yeah, I would have been well. Yeah, I would have been pretty late to that Castle Tower play because that was the only entrance I had that was even more than 1 item left. So like, it just would have been a very unappealing thing to be like, I'm gonna go check entrances now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other castle tower that's not on the ped was somewhere. Wallkicks got it, and Cane of Burna was the second item.
Nice. Alright, is the bug net on blind?
Oh yes,
Nope.
that's also a possibility. No,
Nope.
okay, never mind.
Alright, sorry Jinxie, losing interest.
Yeah, because it's looking like shovel spot at this point. I'm not sure. Vitreous is another good option for it, so those are your good options, quote unquote.
But yeah, I mean, not a ton to say about the seed. It wasn't like a boring seed or anything, but it didn't feel like a seed where there was just like overwhelming amounts of choice either.
Yeah.
You kind of got funneled into the climb. Like if you stayed in logic, you got funneled into the climb somewhat aggressively. And it's just a little unfortunate that like all the pendant dungeons and stuff just ended up being complete crap. Other than a sword and ice palace, which I didn't even need because the 4th sword was, as you might be able to guess, Wally, in the well.
Oof.
But I didn't miss the 1-in-1, so I got that going for me.
Heck yes. The important stuff.
I'm also unreasonably annoyed that I got Mirror Shield in the seed.
Yeah, me too.
Because when did you actually? Okay, I'm happy you did because I was mad at myself because I was just like, you know what? There's like a 99% chance I'm gonna want this item, and so I just blinded the drop down and was holding down without even looking.
Yep.
It was a shield. I'm like, oh come on.
Yep, same.
Unlucky.
It's all right. It was good. I gotta say, collection rate pretty darn good over on Wally's side. 176 out of 216.
Oops, I stepped on a dog toy. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, mine was I think 180 before I reset. I went through it pretty quickly. Okay. I'm actually a little surprised you ended up with a lower collection rate than I did, Wally. I guess you skipped the well.
I was like, you've got 8 items still on, like the 3 upstairs
Yeah.
GT.
Well,
Although
I was thinking like, oh, you didn't
side
do
would
right
have
side. You didn't do right side GT. So I'm like, okay, well, like Wallkicks is probably going to be ahead of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, apparently not.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was mainly the well and the rest of GT, and then some one-offs like the book checks that you got to, Alaszun, that Wallkicks. I guess
Yeah.
he did Bombos, but not Ether.
No,
I'll
I didn't do either book check.
I did
Okay.
Bombos because I wanted to do the Desert Big Chest,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just routed those 2 together.
I did that with purple chest.
Ether, I managed to never go up and check Hera until I had that book.
Nice.
Which I actually was really late to. I just didn't, because I bomb jumped Spec Rock, and then found and so I found Turtle Rock right as a bunny, and Turtle Rock left was just sitting there freaking like top of desert, so it's not like I was going there anytime soon. And so I was pretty late to that. I think I did it right after Ice Palace, I think, because I went for all of Ice Palace. I got the lovely big key in there, which was Skull Woods, but I was going there anyway because I was going to say, okay, I'm going to turn it into Sahas rather than follow the connector, jump down, do the 4 checks in Turtle Rock because I have the big key there, then go to Skull Woods and get all that, but it was all useless. Huzzah!
Well, GG's. I do need to head out and finish some things before tomorrow. But thank you everyone for the restream. GG's again, Alaszun. We will get Game 2 scheduled at some point, but I'll reach out to you probably tomorrow for that.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys.
So thank you so much. GG's to both of you again, and very excited to see Game 2 of this. This one was so close, so it's really up in the air if this is going to go to a Game 3. I hope so, personally, because I'm greedy and want more Crosskeys to watch.
I mean, for my pick'em's sake, I hope not, but don't worry that. I'm pretty sure I've picked against myself in like 12 straight matches at this point. I play a lot better when I'm convinced I'm going to lose because it takes a lot of the pressure off of me.
You know what? Honestly, I support that. I support that mentality of if I don't predict myself, then I can only impress myself from here.
Yeah, and I mean, not even medically, like, Wally's super good.
Oh, like, of course.
There's nobody left in the tournament that I'm gonna feel bad losing to at this point.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, this whole tournament has been amazing to watch, from the Swiss rounds to now the bracket. Now it's just stacked. Everything is brutal stacked
at this point. I think the upper bracket is a little bit more brutal than the lower half of the bracket, but like it's still pretty brutal in general.
Oh yeah, and that's what makes it so fun, really. Yep. Well, I think that we are good to clue up here now for the evening. We are going to be rating Fred, who is streaming right now, according to Jinxie. And I want to thank you all. I wanted to thank my co-commentator Dane. GG's again to Alaszun. And thank you to our 2 trackers today, Tofile and Zaf, because I forget how to pronounce the rest of the name. So thank you to our trackers, and again to Jinxie Girl, our restreamer. Thanks everyone. We'll catch you next time on ZSR. Bye.
Alright, good night everybody. I'm gonna go lie down because my girlfriend